Now the last topic we will look at is waiting for elements to be present. So let's say I have this web page here. And this web page, if I press this start button, what it will do, I show it. I press the start button and it's now, let's say, loading. It takes a number of seconds and then it shows hello world. Now, in my test, what I want to do, click the start button and see that this text has hello world. That's what I want to do. The problem is, it takes a number of seconds. Actually, if I look at the code here, well, there's some JavaScript. Here it is. So what it will do, it waits 5 seconds before it shows the hello world. So they do it here in JavaScript. So typically in my test, I have to wait also 5 seconds. Otherwise I get an error because this element, hello world, is not available on my page yet. So you have to write it in your tests. And Selenium offers 3 types of waits: an implicit wait, an explicit wait, and a fluent wait. Let's take a look. So this web page that I just shown here, you press start, it loads for 5 seconds, then it shows hello world, and then here you see there's 5 seconds on loading, and then after 5 seconds you see hello world. Now if I write a test for that, so here's my test, so I go to the URL here, then I click the button start, then I look for the element with this X-pad where the text hello world is available, and then this is just some dummy, I click that text. But here, give me the text, or the text element where the text hello world is on there. Now if I run this, it will be red. Element, it says here, element not visible. It's not visible because you don't see it. It's in that loading is visible, not the hello world yet. So how do I solve this? Well, one way in Java, what you can do is thread.sleep. Sleep 10 seconds. And then it works, then it's green, the test is green. Now the problem is, anytime you run the test and all the other tests that do something with this, they sleep for 10 seconds. So this is a very slow test. Because the hello world will come back already after 5 seconds in this case. Now, if you go to the server and the server takes some time, sometimes it's 3 seconds, sometimes it's 5 seconds, sometimes it's 1 second. So that's dynamic. But the key here is never use thread.sleep. That's not the way. The Selenium has better solutions for this. The moment the value comes back, then you want to continue. And don't wait extra seconds. So Selenium has an implicit wait. An implicit wait will wait a certain time, and it has a maximum time, but it waits till the element becomes available. That's the thing. So it pulls the DOM is your structure of your web page, till it finds an element here. So an implicit wait, you put an implicit wait on the driver. And the default implicit wait is 0, so typically never wait. So here you set an implicit wait, driver.manage timeouts, implicit wait 30 seconds. So I set the implicit wait on the driver. All the actions that I do have now an implicit wait of 10 seconds. What does that mean? If if I do if I do find element by ID or name or XPath or whatever, it's going to find that element in the DOM. If it is not there, if it can't find it, it will wait. And it waits till that element becomes available. So if it becomes available after 3 seconds, then it waits for 3 seconds and then it continues. If it is 10 seconds, it will wait for 10 seconds and it continues. If it is 12, now I have here the implicit wait on 30. If it is 31 seconds, it will fail. So I set here the maximum time to wait is 30 seconds. But if it finds it in 3 seconds, it will continue after 3 seconds. If you do the sleep, it will always sleep for so many seconds. That's what an implicit wait does. And it waits till an element becomes available. So here in my example, I go to the same URL, but here I say set the implicit wait on 30 seconds here. Then find element by, I click the button and then it waits for 5 seconds. And after 5 seconds it will execute this find element, because then it found it, and then I click that text. So it works now, it's green, but it works, or it waits as long as it needs to wait, till the element becomes available. That's an implicit wait. The next wait we have is an explicit wait. What's the difference? The explicit wait, so the implicit wait you put on the driver, so everything you do on the driver uses that implicit wait. The explicit wait you basically put on an find web element and you write it differently. So here's my code here. Here's my, I create a WebDriver wait class and I give it a driver and I have here 10 seconds. Then I want the web element search box element. So normally you have driver find by ID search box. But now I say wait until, and then here expected conditions element to be clickable by ID search box. So what will it do? The search box element with ID search box, so that wait that until returns until the element with ID search box is clickable. Then this wait.until returns, and then I have my search box element and I can click on it or whatever I want to do. So what's the difference now? The difference is, going back to implicit wait, with implicit wait the first characteristic is it works on the driver. So for all the find element on the driver, it uses that implicit wait. It's the first thing. The second thing is, it only looks for is that element available. Nothing else. It doesn't look, is it clickable? Is it enabled? Is it visible? Those options you have with the explicit wait, not with the implicit wait. Implicit is only is it available. With the explicit wait, what's the difference with the implicit wait? You put an explicit wait whenever you want to search one element. So you do it per element. For every element, you can do an explicit wait. And the implicit wait goes on the driver for all your find elements. The second thing is, implicit wait can only check if something is available. With the explicit wait, there are all kinds of conditions you can look for. Here, is it clickable? Is it visible? Is it available? Is it enabled? And all kinds of, let me see here, I have here an, is it clickable? Can I select it? Is it present? Is it, and so text to be present in element located, title is, title contains, visibility of element located. So there are a lot of conditions that you can use in an explicit way. Now the best practice is always use an explicit weight. It's more powerful, and you do it per use case. How long do I want to? Where do I want to wait for? Visible, clickable, those kind of things. Now, what does Selenium do? It pulls the application every half second. Is it now clickable? No. Okay, let's wait another half second. Is it now clickable? No. Okay, let's wait another half second. Is it now clickable? Yes, now it's clickable. Let's continue. That's what the explicit wait does. And you do it per transaction. Every time you want to look at a web element, you say, okay, I want to wait for this. I want to wait for this, but not more than so many seconds. That's typically what you want. So always use an explicit wait. Don't use an implicit wait. So here, for that same website, I have here, so here's my XPath expression here for the hello text here. In Selenium, an by.xpath or a by.id or a by.name returns a by object, a locator. It's a by of type by. So what do I do here is I say web driver wait, driver that 10, so maximum is 10 seconds I wait. And then here wait until expected conditions visibility of element located. And then I give the locator. So here I look for visibility of element located. The previous one I have element to be clickable. So you can specify where do you want to wait on, but not you don't wait for more than 10 seconds. And then I have a lot of conditions that I can wait on. Now there is also a fluent wait. What is a fluent wait? That's an explicit wait with more control. So the explicit wait always pulls every half second. With a fluent wait you can change that. You can specify how often you want to pull. Most of the time you don't need that, but when milliseconds is important, then you might use a fluent wait. So the fluent wait, you can specify how often you pull, and you can also, when there are exceptions, you can also ignore exceptions. So what's a fluent wait? That's just similar as an explicit wait, but you have control over how often you pull and which exceptions you want to ignore. So here's an example here. I create here a fluent wait. I give the timeout 30 seconds. I give the polling interval every 5 seconds. So the default is every half second. So now I say now every 5 seconds is okay. And in this example, I'll also ignore no such element exception. So if it's not, that element is not available, ignore that. And then again, I have fluent wait until expected conditions element to be clickable, and then by ID foo. So I have here my wait, and on that wait I have an until. That's a fluent wait. So you have more control if you want that. Most of the time the explicit wait is enough. So here is the example where I used it on the same page. Here's my text locator, that hello world. I create a fluent wait. Maximum is 10 seconds. I pull every second, and I ignore, in this case, the no such element exception. And then here I wait till it becomes available, and then I click. So We have an implicit weight, explicit weight, fluent weight. Implicit weight works for the whole browser session on your driver, only checks the presence of an element. Is an element available? Explicit weight can wait for any condition, clickable, visible. Polling interval is a half second, and you do it per transaction. What's a fluent weight? Also works on a transaction. You can give it a condition, but you have control over the polling interval and exceptions you ignore. So what's the best practice? Don't use thread.sleep, don't use an implicit weight, always use an explicit weight or a fluent weight if you want that control, and never mix implicit and explicit weights. Then Selenium says, we cannot guarantee what Selenium will do. So always use explicit weight or fluent weight. That's the conclusion here.